Tongkat Ali is a supplement that you can buy for a relatively low price, and it will increase your plasma testosterone tenfold in just a week. Or at least that's what some influencers might have you believe. In reality, it is a very different story, and we have very few, if any, randomized control trials on the effects of Tongkat Ali on things that the people who take them actually care about, such as testosterone levels or the ability to build muscle or even libido. Now, before we get started, my name is George. I am a published health researcher specializing in muscle health. The whole point of this channel is to update you on the latest muscle science as and when the studies come out, rather than waiting weeks, months, or even years for it to eventually come out in the mainstream media. So let's get back to Tongkat Ali. Well, I originally heard of this supplement through Andrew Huberman, which I'm sure many of you did because I think he takes it, or he used to take it, or he recommends it. But when I looked into it, there was surprisingly few randomized control trials of good enough quality anyway. So it made me wonder where this hype has come from with very little evidence. Then we got this study here. Now, this is a brand new randomized control trial that's just come out, I believe within the last month. So let's go through what this study was trying to do. Well, it was trying to assess the effects of Tongkat Ali supplementation versus taking a placebo on certain body composition parameters, so things like the amount of muscle mass or fat mass that someone has. So how did they go about this? Well, they recruited 33 men and women. Now, these were young guys and girls. They were roughly aged between 30 and 40. Now, to be part of this study, you had to have already had some experience of training. Now, they didn't stipulate the type of training it had to be, so it didn't have to be bodybuilding style training. In fact, you could have just been a regular runner or even swimmer or anything like that, as long as you're exercising regularly at least 3 days a week. They invited them to their lab where they did certain tests on them, the main one being a body composition exam, and they did this through a method called bioelectrical impedance analysis. It basically works by sending a very small non-detectable current through the body, and primarily due to the differences in water content between fat and muscle mass, these two tissues conduct that electrical current at a different rate. The software then takes this information and can give an estimate as to the amount of muscle mass or fat-free mass that you have in your body and the amount of fat mass. So participants did this. They then did some questionnaires as well, so things like a mood questionnaire, sleep questionnaire, and the researchers also took some samples from them. So through their saliva, they measured free testosterone and cortisol. Then at the end of all of the testing, the researchers sent home the participants with some capsules. Now, these capsules either had in them 400 milligrams of Tongkat Ali or the equivalent volume of rice flour used as the placebo. And participants were asked to consume one of these tablets a day for 4 weeks. Now, before we move on at this point, it's important for me to mention that this is not a great study. In fact, when I was looking at this to make this video, there are flaws left, right, and center when you're reading this paper. I couldn't actually find any information as to the dose of Tongkat Ali that they were given, or any indication that they were given it at all in the main paper. I had to read the abstract or the summary at the top of the paper. They also don't mention what participants got up to during that 4 weeks, so we don't know if they changed their training or they changed their diet. So let's get on to the bit you've all been waiting for. What did these researchers find? Over the 4 weeks of the study, these people didn't change their lean body mass, and they found the exact same for the amount of fat mass on their body. That didn't seem to change. They also measured muscle strength by grip strength. I don't know why this would change if you're not changing your training, but unsurprisingly, Tongkat Ali didn't change their grip strength. Interestingly, their mood scores improved dramatically. So these questionnaires that they were doing about their mood, they saw great improvements in both groups, so both Tongkat Ali and placebo groups, which hints that there was a pretty sizable placebo effect going on. But what about in terms of their hormones? What happened to their testosterone levels during the study? Well, in the placebo group, their testosterone actually decreased. So it went from 283 picograms per milliliter to 251, but in the Tongkat Ali group, their testosterone went from 247 to 305. In terms of cortisol levels, well, both groups saw a small increase in cortisol, so there didn't seem to be anything major going on there. However, and this is important to mention, the values in the testosterone levels were so widely spread that these changes could have just been down purely to chance. And in fact, after running statistical tests on the data, that's exactly what they found. The likelihood is this was just down to chance. Now, unfortunately, another flaw of this study, I can't seem to find any of that sleep data that they collected. They seem to just mention that they're going to do it and then never actually present the results. So let's recap on what this study told us. Well, it seems as though in this relatively small group of young people, taking 400 milligrams of Tongkat Ali provided no extra benefits in terms of lean mass gain or fat loss over a placebo supplement. However, there was a small increase in testosterone levels, and this could be interesting and is worth looking into. However, what we need is larger and probably better designed trials to work out whether it's worth taking. Unfortunately though, this trial leaves many questions still unanswered, and this certainly isn't a trial to just take the results of and run with it. But importantly, it doesn't mean that this stuff doesn't work. And as soon as any new studies come out on it, I will of course do another video for you guys. So as always, thank you for watching everyone, and I'll see you soon in another video.